today study the essentials of load frequency control for gate and previous gate model questions. Okay. So basically, what is the ideal frequency range in India? Ideal frequency we possibly want it to be 50 hertz plus or minus 1% is the ideal frequency range. That means if your frequency is lying between 49.5 hertz to 50.5 hertz, then your frequency is in the ideal range. Okay. So the practical range, it depends upon your application. If your application is not that critical, you may practically allow the frequency to vary in between plus or minus 3%. Okay, but for high stringent applications where frequency is a very important parameter, you may not allow the frequency fluctuations more than 1%. That is it. This is the situation in India. But in foreign countries, the range, the margin of allowable tolerance may be very small, maybe 0.5% or maybe 0.25% of the nominal frequency. Okay, so why we want the frequency to be as close to its nominal value? That means the nominal value in India is 50 hertz. So we want our frequency to be as close as possible to this value. Why we cannot allow the frequency to vary beyond a limit? Because your transformer action will be completely disturbed when your frequency fluctuations are severe. Why? Because, so I hope if you recollect your transformer equation, I'm not going into that, but anyhow, the flux density inside the core of the transformer is some constant into voltage, excitation voltage, either it is primary side or secondary side, divided by the frequency of excitation. That is excitation voltage, and this is the excitation means input voltage, and F is the excited frequency or input frequency. Okay. So what happens for a fixed voltage? If your frequency starts falling, what will happen? Your flux density inside the transformer core increases. So since the flux cannot increase beyond a limit, because otherwise the core will get saturated. So there is a problem of core saturation. Transformer core saturation. Once the transformer core saturates, what happens? Whatever may be the input voltage, it will give the fixed amount of the output voltage, because it's no longer, its core is in the linear range of operation. So that is the main problem. For example, what happens if I take a transformer? Voltage of this transformer is 11 bar 33 kV, let me say. Okay, so if my transformer core saturates, what happens? So ideally what you would expect, if I apply 1 kV as the input to this transformer, my output should be 3 kV. Suppose if I apply 5 kV, my output should be 15 kV. If I apply say 8 kV, the output should be 24 kV. Suppose because the frequency is very low, your input frequency is very low. Suppose if the core is saturating at say 9 kV, core has saturated at 9 kV. So corresponding voltage is how much? 27 kV. Now if you increase the voltage to 9.5, 10, 10.5, 11, whatever may be the input voltage, but your output voltage will be fixed at 27 kV because the core has saturated. Understand? So you should not allow the core saturation to happen before its rated voltage. To be ideally, when you study the switchgear lectures, you will understand that the core should not saturate. So if your input frequency falls, there is a problem of core saturation. So that the transformation ratio which you are always taking, that the transformation ratio of the transformer is always constant, that no longer remains valid. So your complete transformer action will be in trouble. So disadvantage of the frequency, the main disadvantage is that the voltage and current transformation ratio of transformers is frequency dependent. So if your frequency fluctuates, even this transformation ratio also fluctuates. Understand? So your transformation ratio is no longer constant. That's why your frequency should be as close to the ideal value as possible. So not only all the transformers, but you know that all our relaying means protection, metering means measurement. Okay, so you can measure the voltage, low voltages, by putting the voltmeter, ammeter, whatever you do. But when you go for high voltages, you completely depend. You do the indirect measurement. You cannot directly measure the voltage and current flowing in the high voltage conductor. What you do, you step down the voltage by use of current transformer. You step down the voltage by using the potential transformer. You step down the current to a lower value by using the current transformer. So depending upon those CT and PT ratios, you step down the voltages and you measure them. So once your transformer ratio is not constant, even your current CT ratio and voltage PT ratio of the voltage will also be not constant. So your complete relaying, that is protection, and your metering will be faulty. Because all the decisions we are making, all the relays, all the measurements, all the decisions are being made based on the values that we sense and we measure. So this is another big problem. The electrical motor speeds are frequency dependent. If you recollect, if your synchronous motor formula, Ns is equals to, synchronous speed is given by 120 F by P, and for an induction motor the speed is given by synchronous speed into 1 minus S, that is 120 F by P, 120 F by P into is 120 F by P into 1 minus S. So once your frequency changes, the speeds, the rated speeds of all your synchronous motors and induction motors will be affected, which will directly impact the output of the industry. Because 70% of the electrical load is of induction motors. So once your induction motor speed is no longer constant, so the output of the industry will be severely affected. So these are the major disadvantages of the frequency fluctuation. So your frequency should not fluctuate beyond certain limit. How to control the frequency? Methods of frequency control. I'm just giving a eagle's view of the philosophy that is involved in the frequency control. So mainly this frequency of the alternator is governed by the speed governor system. Speed governor system is a system that adjusts the prime mover input according to the prime mover input. What is the prime mover input? Mechanical power. And what is the output of the generator? Electrical power. So whenever, how much power that should the generator produce? The generator should always produce the power that satisfies the load connected to it and the losses in the system. Understand? So once you connect a load to the system, to a generator, it must produce that power. It must produce whatever the load demands. So the generator output is always equal to the real power losses in the system plus load demand, plus real power load demand. Okay. So this load is continuously fluctuating. Why? Because load is not in the utility control. When who will turn on which device, who will turn off which device, which industry will load, which industry will unload, it is not in the control of the utility. So load will be continuously fluctuating. But to meet this load demand, the prime mover should also continuously vary its mechanical input power, mechanical input power. So this is carried out by the speed governor. This is the role, major function of the speed governor system, adjusting the prime mover input according to the electrical load fluctuations. Understand? So this is a governor valve. What you can observe is that this governor valve opens more, means when you open your tap more, what will happen? The water flow will increase. More amount of water will flow. Similarly, when you open this governor valve, high pressure, high temperature steam from the boiler, high pressure, high temperature steam from the boiler enters the steam turbine, and thus the steam turbine will generate more output power. Okay, so this PS is the shaft power or the mechanical power that is supplied by the turbine, and PE is the electrical output of the generator. Understand? Ideally, if these two values are matching, they will not match, but if you neglect the generator losses, both will be ideally same, more or less same. So when what happens when your mechanical input of the generator is ideally matching with the electrical power output, then what happens? Then your frequency will be constant. But because the load is continuously, PD is the electrical electrical power demanded by the system. So when this load fluctuates, automatically your PE fluctuates. So all the details we will study in the stability, power system stability. I have explained everything in detail. From now, what I am telling is that, sir, if suppose my shaft power is, say for example, it is 80 megawatt initially. Okay. My electrical power is also 80 megawatt. System is normally functioning at 50 hertz frequency. Suppose, so my load is also 80 megawatt. I am neglecting the losses in this case. Okay. Suddenly there is an increase in the load from 80 to 90 megawatt. Suddenly 10 megawatt load comes. Then how it will supply? Because my prime mover input is fixed, is at 80 megawatt only, but suddenly my 10 megawatt load has increased. Then what happens? The generator output also becomes 90 megawatt. Why? Because these two values will always be same. The electrical output of the generator is load demand plus losses. Load demand per plus losses. Even if your shaft power is a different quantity, but these two values will always match. Understand? Now, since my input is only 80 megawatt, but my output is 90 megawatt, how this will happen? This will happen because the generator has a large mass of a rotor. Rotor is a heavy mass of body which is rotating at synchronous speeds. For a two-pole machine, it is 3000 RPM. For a four-pole machine, it is 1500 RPM. So huge mass of body rotating at very high angular velocity. It will have some stored kinetic energy. The kinetic energy stored in the rotor is half into J into omega r square. So many megajoules. It will be in megajoules. So some portion of this kinetic energy, it will lose some of its kinetic energy and supply the additional load. So whenever the rotor loses some of its kinetic energy and supplies the additional load that is coming, the angular velocity of rotor reduces. Why? Because J is a constant. J is nothing but m into r square, mass of the rotor into radius of the rotor square. Understand? Kg meter square. All this I have discussed in stability. You need not worry. So J is a constant value. Your omega r is the rotor angular velocity, that is 2 pi ns. Omega r is nothing but 2 pi ns, 2 pi nr by 60. Nr is the rotor RPM. So which will directly impact the rotor RPM. Rotor RPM will also reduce. Once rotor RPM reduces, your frequency will reduce. Frequency will reduce. So Pn by 120. So that is the impact. Okay, when suddenly load increases, if there is no change in the mechanical input coming from the turbine, what happens? The additional load is being supplied by the stored kinetic energy of rotor, which will reduce its RPM. Once the RPM reduces, the frequency of the machine will reduce. Exactly opposite happens when load suddenly decreases. Exactly opposite happens when load suddenly decreases. So what happens? When load suddenly decreases without change in the mechanical input of the turbine, the additional, because now let us assume here the load has reduced by, previously it was 80 megawatt, so suddenly there is a reduction of 10 megawatt. So in this case, what happens? This value will match, your PE will be 70 megawatt, PE and PD will be almost same, but now input is 80 megawatt. So this additional 10 megawatt of energy, it is taken by the rotor. It will absorb that additional kinetic energy. So its kinetic energy will increase. So that means your omega R value will increase. So your rotor RPM will increase and your frequency will increase. Your frequency will increase. Understand? So whenever there are load fluctuations, what you can observe, there will be change in the rotor RPM and rotor and the frequency of the generator. Frequency of the generator. Understand? So why this is coming? This is coming because the load is suddenly changing, but your steam turbine output, the mechanical output of the steam turbine, the output power of the steam turbine is not changing, So the speed governor system, what it should do, it should try to change this shaft power. It should try to change this shaft power, that is the mechanical output of the turbine, as quickly in according to the load fluctuation, so that there is no frequency disturbance. There is no frequency disturbance. Understand? So how it basically ideally functions is that, so the generator frequency we will sense, that is Fg. Fg is the generator frequency. Generator output frequency is Fg. Fg is generator. F reference is 50 hertz. Reference frequency is 50 hertz. So we will feed both to a comparator. The comparator will measure them and it produces an error signal. So what is the error? Error is nothing but the generator frequency minus reference frequency. Fe is nothing but generator frequency minus the reference frequency, that you can see here. Okay. So this error frequency is fed to the some control system. So if your Fe is 0, the error is 0, don't change the governor valve position. Don't change the governor valve position. Keep as it is. Okay. Suppose if your Fe is positive, Fe is positive means generator frequency is greater than the reference frequency, then what we should do? Close the valve, reduce the input of the steam turbine, close the valve till your Fe becomes 0. Till Fe becomes 0, close the valve. If Fe is negative, open the valve till your error frequency becomes 0. Understand? So this is how your speed governance system ideally will function. One very, very important point is that the load can change instantaneously. Load can change instantaneously. Instantaneously means within zero time. Within zero time. Load can change instantaneously, but governor valve cannot cannot change instantaneously. Why? Because it is a high pressure, high temperature valve. It is very difficult to rotate that valve. Manually, we don't rotate. We will have some actuators to do that. However precise may be your actuating system, but there will be some time lag in changing one position to the other position. Understand? But load can change within zero time, like within a zero time, the load can change. But to change the governor valve, there is some time lag. So the time lag of the governor system is given by tau d, which will be usually in the range of 0.2 to 1 second. 0.2 to 1 second. So there is some delay in changing the position of the governor valve. There is some delay in the changing the position of the governor valve. So in this delay, there is some frequency fluctuation. In this delay time, there is some frequency fluctuation that will occur. Okay. So one more method which we use mainly during peak load stations, because we very rarely encounter the over frequency problem. We always have under frequency problem. So during peak loads, what will happen to meet the extra load? So why frequency will fall? Because our input is less and our output is, our demand is more. So in this situation, during peak loads, we to maintain the frequency, what will happen? We start some peak load stations to maintain the frequency. What we will do? We will use the peak load generating station. So peak load generating stations are those generators that can be started very quickly. Okay. Peak load generating stations, the best feature is the quick starting. Very quickly they can be started. So ideally for small capacities, you can prefer the diesel generators or gas generators. Just if you press one button, they will immediately start. Diesel generators and gas generators. For higher capacities, what we use is the pumped storage plant. So here there will be one valve. I'm not going in details into all this. This is a penstock and all that. I'm not worrying. So once you open the valve, what will happen? The high pressure water will enter into a turbine, hydro turbine. So this hydro turbine will rotate, and which will rotate the generator, and which will produce the electricity immediately. Okay. And so during peak load, what will happen? From the reservoir, upstream reservoir, we will open the valve, and once the water will enter the turbine, the turbine rotates, and which rotates the alternator, and it produces the power. Okay. This is an artificial. Okay. At lower end also we have a low level reservoir. So after the water is being used, it is collected in a low level reservoir. So during light load conditions, when the load is very less, what happens? This situation is also undesirable. Load is very less, it is also undesirable. I'll tell you a practical example. Suppose the total load at night is say 230 megawatt. Okay. So I have all 100 megawatt generators. All my generators are 100 megawatt. So how many generators I have to add? I have to run at least 3 generators. Two generators are fully loaded, and one generator is only loaded 30 megawatt. So generator will give maximum efficiency when it is loaded 90% to 95% of its rated load. Then only it will give maximum efficiency. But now the third generator is not operating at its rated load. Because there is no load, we cannot operate it at its rated load. In this situation, so what we can do? We can pump the water from the lower reservoir. We can pump the water by using the electrical energy from the generator by loading the lightly loaded generator. So what we can do? We can pump this water in the lower reservoir to upstream reservoir so that we can use whenever there is a peak load situation occur. So here for this pumped storage plant, we use a reversible turbine. A reversible turbine. So what is this reversible turbine? When water is flowing from upstream reservoir to downstream reservoir, it is acting as a turbine. It is acting as a turbine. So when the water is moving from lower end to low level reservoir to high level, it is acting as a pump. It is acting as a pump. So while during peak load, it will supply electrical energy to the grid. It will supply electrical energy to the grid during peak load. During light load condition, it will draw power from the grid and pump the water from the lower level reservoir to the upstream reservoir. Understand? So this is the philosophy of the pumped storage plant. In pumped storage plant, the turbine we use is a reversible turbine. Understand? Of the generator. Speed regulation parameter of the generator. Okay. So it is the curve between the frequency variation and the power output of the generator. Power output of the generator. So suppose here FNL is the no load frequency, FFL is the full load frequency of the generator. So when you keep on increasing the load on the alternator, what will happen? Its frequency will reduce, which we already know. At no load, its frequency will be high. At its rated or full load, its frequency will be less. Understand? So suppose this is the rated power output of the generator. So now the speed regulation parameter R is defined as F no load minus F full load divided by a rated power output of the generator. Understand? So the unit is hertz per megawatt. So speed regulation parameter R is defined as the difference between no load between the no load frequency minus full load frequency divided by a rated power output of the generator. Understand? Its unit is hertz per megawatt. Hertz per megawatt. Let us assume the no load frequency of a generator is 51.5 hertz. Full load frequency is 50 hertz and rated output power is say 150 megawatt. So in this case, what it will become? It is 1.5 divided by 150. So it is 0.01 hertz per megawatt. Just for example, I have taken the values. The no load frequency is 51.5 hertz and full load frequency is 50 hertz. And the rated power output, the full load power output of the machine is 150 megawatts. So in this case, it is R value is 0.01 hertz per megawatt. What is the significance of this R value? So here it is means for 1 megawatt loading of generator, for 1 megawatt loading of generator, the frequency fall by 0.01 hertz. That is the significance. Some textbooks will tell full load frequency minus no load frequency divided by rated. In this case, the R value will become negative. R value will become negative. So whether it is negative or positive, what negative that specifies means As load increases, the frequency will fall. So whatever may be, either this difference is this, the meaning is that this speed regulation parameter will give you the reduction in frequency for 1 megawatt loading. Reduction in frequency from 1 megawatt loading. Understand? This is the speed regulation parameter of the generator. That is no load frequency minus full load frequency by rated power output. Then you will get this value in positive. If you do reverse, you will get this value in negative. So whatever may be the case, the meaning is that what is the reduction in frequency for 1 megawatt loading of the machine is the speed regulation parameter. The unit is hertz per megawatt. Hertz per megawatt. Next is percentage speed regulation or percentage droop of synchronous machine. Synchronous, a generator. Synchronous, a generator. Percentage speed regulation or percentage droop of a synchronous generator. So percentage speed regulation, we know what is the formula. No load RPM minus full load RPM by full load RPM into 100. Similarly, the percentage droop or percentage speed regulation of generator is given by no load frequency minus full load frequency divided by full load frequency into 100. So this per unit droop will become, the per unit speed regulation will become no load frequency minus full load frequency. This 100 value will not come. This 100 value won't be there. Okay. So in per unit droop, this 100 value won't be there. So in the previous case, if you substitute the same values, you're going to get the no load frequency is 51.5 hertz and the full load frequency is 50 hertz divided by full load frequency. You're going to get this value as 0.03. If you substitute the same value here, it is 51.5 minus 50 divided by 50 into 100. You're going to get this as 3%, 3% speed regulation or 3% droop. Understand? So percentage droop of the generator is 3%. Per unit droop or per unit speed regulation of generator is 0.03. Understand? 0.03 per unit. So whenever the full load frequency is not mentioned, you can ideally take the value as 50 hertz. Whether if they mention the other value, then you take the other value. By default, if they don't mention any full load frequency, this full load frequency or the rated frequency, full load frequency or rated frequency, see the frequency that they mention on any nameplate is the full load frequency or rated frequency. You can directly take it as 50 hertz when they don't mention any value. This one point you have to remember. Change in frequency from no load to full load, how you can calculate? If you know the per unit droop and rated frequency, you can calculate the change in frequency from no load to full load just by multiplying those values. So change in frequency from no load to full load, you can get delta F as per unit droop into a rated frequency or full load frequency. So in the previous case, it was 0.03 into 50. So this value you are going to get it as 1.5 hertz. Change in frequency from no load to full load, you're going to get this as 1.5 hertz. That is per unit droop into a rated frequency or full load frequency. This also you remember. Now this is I think it is a GATE 2020 question. Just read and try. So a 50 hertz synchronous generator on droop control is delivering 100 megawatt power to a system. So due to increase in load, the generator power had to be increased by 10 megawatt. As a result, the system frequency dropped to 49.75 hertz. So what is the meaning here? At 50 hertz frequency, my generator at 50 hertz, generator output is 100 megawatt. Understand? Now, suddenly the load has increased. So due to increase in load, the generator power had to be increased by 10 megawatt. So when generator output is 110 megawatt, my frequency is 49.75 hertz. 49.75 hertz. Now, if I calculate my speed regulation parameter, just it is delta F by delta P. So what is the change in frequency? Let us not put the formula. The change in frequency is 0.25 hertz for an extra loading of how much? 10 megawatt. This is one more way of calculating the speed regulation parameter. So this will become what? 0.025 hertz per megawatt. That means for 1 megawatt loading, the frequency is falling at the range of 0.025 hertz. Understand? Now, further the increase in the load, further increase in load in the system resulted in frequency of 49.25. 49.25. At this condition, the power in megawatt supplied by the generator is. So for 1 megawatt, this is how much? 0.025 hertz per megawatt. So, but now my frequency is how much? 49.25 hertz. So the change in frequency is how much? The change in frequency is 0.75 hertz. So what will be the change in delta P? Delta P change will become R delta F divided by R. Delta F divided by R. 0.75 divided by 0.025. How much is this one? 30. 30. Now the change in frequency is 30 megawatt. So it is supplying 100 megawatt at 50 hertz. So for reduction in frequency from 50 hertz to 49.25 hertz, the additional load of 30 megawatt is there. So now my generator at 49.25 hertz is supplying 130 megawatt. 130 megawatt. That is the answer. Your answer is 130. Up to 2 decimal places. So 130.00. Understand? So had he asked what is my no load frequency, the no load frequency would have become how much? When it is supplying 0 megawatt, so 50 hertz at 100, so you have to add 50 hertz plus 100 into 0.025. So 100 into 0.025 you will add, it's going to become, the no load frequency is 52.5 hertz. So no load frequency would have become 50 hertz. So 49.25 hertz at 130 megawatt frequency plus R into delta P. It is 0.025 into 130 plus 49.25 would have become your no load frequency. What is this value? Calculate and tell. 52.5 hertz. First read and understand the question. An isolated 50 hertz synchronous generator is rated at 15 megawatt, which is also the maximum continuous power limit of its prime mover. The complete sentence meaning is that the maximum power which the generator can deliver is 15 megawatt. The rated power output of the generator is 15 megawatt. That is the meaning of the sentence. It is equipped with a speed governor system with a 5% droop. Percentage droop is 5%. Initially, generator is feeding a load of 3 loads of 12 megawatt. That is, it is operating at 12 megawatt load. at 50 hertz. So at 50 hertz, it is operating at 12 megawatt. One of these loads is programmed to trip permanently if the frequency fall below 48 hertz. That means if your frequency falls below 48 hertz, to prevent the reduction in frequency, one of the load will permanently trip. If an additional load of 3.5 megawatt is connected, then what will be the frequency of the generator? So what is the question? It's telling a generator is operating at 50 hertz when supplying 12 megawatt load. Okay. And if additional, then the operating frequency is how much? That is the question. Again, very simple. So here we have to calculate what is the change in frequency. First, we need to calculate the R value. For 1 hertz, how much will be the change in the frequency? To calculate R value, what is the data we know? We need to find out F no load minus F full load divided by P rated power output. So to calculate the difference from the no load frequency to full load frequency, what technique we'll adopt? We'll adopt the technique as percentage droop per unit droop into rated frequency divided by P rated. So if you substitute in this value, you're going to get your R value as 0.05 per unit droop into 50 hertz divided by rated power output is 15. For an additional load of 3.5 megawatt, reduction in frequency is how much? That is R into delta P. R parameter we have calculated, that is 0.05 into 50 divided by 15 into additional load is 3.5. If you calculate this value, what is the fall in frequency? 0.583 hertz. So operating frequency is, if operating is 50 hertz minus this drop 0.583 hertz, so it will become 49.41 hertz. That is the 416. So 49.417 is the right option. Understand? So you understand the logic how we have approached the problem. See, rated power output 15 megawatt, droop is this one. These characteristics are given. But at 50 hertz, it is supplying 12 megawatt load. An additional load of 3.5 megawatt load is added. Then what is the operating frequency? So from this, what you have to calculate, what is the R parameter? What is the reduction in frequency for 1 hertz according to the characteristics of the generator, which we have calculated as this value. So many hertz per megawatt. So now we know that at 12 megawatt, it is operating at 50 hertz. So for an additional 3.5 megawatt, the reduction in frequency we have calculated, that is R multiplied by delta P. Delta P is 3.5 megawatt. So from this, we have calculated the fall in frequency. And now the operating frequency when it is supplying 12 megawatt plus an additional load of 3.5 megawatt, that is 15.5 megawatt. It is operating at 49.416 hertz. That is the answer. Understand? So the next topic is frequency deviation due to time delay in the speed governor system. So there is one formula, directly we are discussing the formula, the frequency deviation due to delay in the speed governor system. So here the formula is, I'm directly writing, I'll write in yellow. So frequency deviation due to time delay in speed governor system, because I told earlier that the load can change instantaneously, but the speed governor system cannot change its valve position instantaneously. It has some time delay. That time delay, I'm calling it as tau d, which will be usually in the range of, I told, 0.2 to 1 second. Understand? So tau d is the time delay of the speed governor system. Now, F tau d is the frequency of the generator, frequency of generator at t equals to tau d. That means because there is a delay of tau d from the disturbance point to the correction point. So what will be my generator frequency when the speed governor system starts acting? Speed governor system starts acting. Now here I am considering that disturbance in load occurred at t equal to 0. That means the load has changed. The load disturbance has occurred when t equal to 0. And I'm calculating the frequency of the generator when the governor valve starts changing. That is frequency of generator at t equal to tau d. Fi is the frequency of generator just before disturbance, just before load disturbance, just before load disturbance. Okay, S is the MVA rating of generator, and already we know tau d is the time delay of speed governor system, time delay of speed governor system in second. Understand? Now h is the inertia constant, of generator, inertia constant of a generator. Its value is given in unities, megajoules per MVA, or the other unit is second. Understand? So F tau d is the frequency of generator at a t equal to Td. Here we are assuming that the disturbance has occurred at t equal to 0. Fi is the frequency of the generator just before load disturbance. S is the MVA rating of machine. Tau d is the time delay of speed governor system. Unit is second. H is the inertia constant of generator. Unit is either megajoules per MVA or second. Now here plus symbol is used when load suddenly decreases. When load suddenly decreases. Minus symbol is used when load suddenly increases. Understand? So in this formula, here we have to use the plus symbol when the load suddenly increases, a load suddenly decreases, and minus symbol when load suddenly increases. Delta PD is the load disturbance value. load disturbance, or in other words, megawatt of load decreased or increased. How many megawatts of load that is increased or decreased? Load disturbance in megawatt. Understand? Megawatt of load increased or decreased. Understand? So this formula is very important, which you can remember. Don't worry about its derivation. But I'll tell you one very important point. Had there been no time delay, suppose our speed governance system also is changing its position at the same pace as that of the load disturbance. That means if our tau d is 0, then you can see that your frequency f tau d is same as the initial frequency. There is no frequency disturbance or frequency deviation. The deviation in the frequency is only happening because of the time delay of the speed governance system. Understand? So in this formula, if you put your tau d as 0, then you can see that both the numerator and denominator are same. So your frequency when the governor valve starts acting is same as the frequency just before the disturbance. Understand? So these are some important formula which you remember if they ask in the any question. So we'll take up one question here. A 200 MVA alternator is operating at no load at 51 Hertz frequency. Inertia constant is 5 seconds. Time delay in speed governance system is 0.3 seconds. If 50 megawatt load is suddenly applied, the frequency after the disturbance or frequency at t equal to 0.3 seconds. They can ask anyway after the disturbance of at t equal to 0.3 second is how much. So here the data given is S is 200 MVA. Inertia constant H is 5 seconds. Time delay is 0.3 and your delta PD is 50 megawatt. To be very precise, minus 50, because why? Your disturbance delta PD is 50 megawatt. Your symbol is negative. Why? Because the load has suddenly increased. So if you substitute the formula, F tau d is equals to F initial into SH. Here we have to use the negative symbol. Tau d into delta PD by SH into whole power half. So if you substitute this value, initial frequency is 51, S is 200, H is 5, minus 0.3 into disturbance is 50 megawatt into 200 into 5 whole power half. So calculate this value. How much is this value? Into 0.9924.
49.6, sir.
Will be
49.6.
So 50.61 hertz. 50. So a 100 MVA alternator is operating at full load at 50 hertz frequency. Inertia constant is 4 seconds. Time delay of speed governance system is 0.5 seconds. If one of the parallel transmission line connected to the generator trips, if one of the parallel transmission connected to the generator trips, here the word trips is missing, reducing the load to 60%, frequency of the generator after sudden tripping of transmission line is. Understand? So here the rating of machine is 100 MVA. The initial frequency is 50 hertz. That is this one. H is 4 seconds. Speed governor time delay is 0.5 seconds and 60%. So here we assume that the full load power output of the generator is 100 megawatt. full load power output is 100 megawatt. So 60% is only remaining after tripping. That means your delta PD is 40% of 100 megawatt. That you can take it as 40 megawatt. And here our symbol is positive. Why? Because there is sudden reduction in the load. So your F tau D, that is F initial into HS plus tau D into delta PD divided by HS whole to the power of 4. So if you substitute these values, 50 into 100 into 4 plus 40 into 0.5 divided by 100 into 4 whole to the power of half. So your final frequency, the frequency after the tripping of one of parallel transmission lines is how much? So 51.234 hertz. So suddenly the frequency will increase, that is 51.234 hertz. Understand? So whenever such problems comes, you can try this. Sudden
increase and decrease
plus symbol. So when suddenly load it decreases, you have to use the symbol. Because why? When suddenly load decreases, what happens? Your frequency will increase.
Increase, okay.
Frequency should increase. That's why the positive symbol designates your F tau D is greater than the initial frequency. That only happens if the load decreases. So you have to increase the use the negative symbol when the load suddenly increases. So when load suddenly increases, your frequency after the disturbance should be less than the frequency before the disturbance. So in that case, you have to use the negative. Now the last topic in this one is load sharing of two parallel generators. So when two parallel generators are operating in parallel, how do they share their load? Okay. So when two generators have same speed regulation or same droop characteristics, they share the load in proportion to their MVA ratings. So here there is no problem. If the two machines are having same speed regulation characteristics, they share the load in proportion to their rating. So here if you can observe, so that one generator is 200 MVA same droop and total load demand is 150 megawatt. So they will share the load in proportion to their ratings. We can directly tell. So here, how we can solve mathematically? Yeah. G1 rating of generator 1 divided by rating of generator 2 is directly proportional to their power shared. Let the power shared by first generator is X, second generator is 150 minus X. Then the remaining power of 150 minus X will be the power supplied by generator 2. So since their percentage droops are same, the power supplied by them is directly proportional to their ratings. Understand? So if you put them in the mathematical form, this is this one. So if you substitute the values 200 divided by 100 is equals to X divided by 150 minus X. So if you solve them, what you're going to get? I'm directly writing. This is 2, 1. So 300 minus 2X is equals to X. So X is equals to 100 megawatt. And 150 minus X is 50 megawatt. So here your generator 1 will share 100 megawatt load and generator 2 will share 50 megawatt load. Understand? Suppose when their speed regulation characteristics are different. Suppose if their speed regulation characteristics are different, then the machine that is having, ideally if we assume that the both ratings are same, then the machine which is having lesser speed regulation, machine with lower percentage droop will share more load when compared to machine with a higher droop. When compared to machine with a higher droop. Understand? So this all point also you have to remember. So when two generators are operating, what is this one? When they have different speed regulation characteristics, the machine with lower percentage droop, lower droop characteristics will share more load when compared to machine with a higher droop. This we will solve. This question we will solve. Before that, we have to learn few things. So if we go back to our speed regulation characteristics of generator, rated power output of generator. So here if you take theta, we'll get tan theta is equals to, tan theta as is equals to, what you can write? No load frequency minus full load frequency divided by a rated power. It is nothing but your R parameter, tan theta. Now suppose this machine is supplying a load of, it is operating at this frequency. Let us say it is operating at this frequency, F. It is not operating at no load or full load, but in between it is operating. Then you can see that these two right angle triangles are similar. If you can observe, I am giving notations. Suppose this is A, B, C, and this point is D and this point is E. Now, triangle ABC is similar to triangle ADE. Both are similar triangles. So here also your tan theta will become, the theta value will be same. So if you equate this tan theta to, now the power output of the generator, how we can calculate? This theta is same. So you can calculate this tan theta as FNL minus F into operating frequency into power supplied by this one. Power supplied by this one. Okay. So the power shared you can easily obtain if you know the tan theta and if you know the operating frequency. So mathematically, when you know the numerical values, the problem would be easy. So once you know tan theta value, the R value, then if you know the operating frequency, you can easily calculate how much power it is being supplied by this machine. Okay. Suppose when two generators are running in parallel, when two generators are operating in parallel, this is the E1 rated power output of this one. Okay. P1 rated. This is no load frequency of generator 1, full load frequency of generator 1. This is tan theta 1. Okay. So tan theta 1 will become how much? No load frequency of generator 1 minus full load frequency of generator 1 divided by the rated frequency of rated power output of generator 1. Similarly, if you take the droop characteristics of the other machine, so this is theta 2, let us call. This is P2 rated. This is 0. Now these values are again F no load 2, F load 2. So your tan theta 2 will become how much? Tan theta 2 will become F no load 2 minus F load 2 divided by P2 rated. P2 rated. Understand? You will get two separate tan theta 1 and tan theta 2, two speed regulation parameters. Now, when the machines are operating in parallel, both of them will operate at some fixed frequency, say this. So when two generators are running in parallel, their frequency of operation will be same. So suppose this F is the frequency where they are operating. F is the frequency where they are operating. Then the both machines will supply how much load? So this is the load supplied by machine 1, and this is the load supplied by machine 2, because they are operating at same frequency. Now, so when you know the slope and characteristics of one generator and slope and characteristics of other generators, how they will share the load, you have to calculate again by using the similar triangle concept here. So when they are operating at some fixed frequency of F, when they are running in parallel, then their load sharing will be like this. This green portion is the load shared by first generator. The green portion is the load shared by generator 1. This red portion is the load shared by generator 2. Understand? So mathematically, if you write, how we can write? So since these two triangles are similar, this also will become theta 2. This will become theta 1. So from the same concept, what they'll calculate, tan theta 2 is equals to F no load 2 minus F divided by load shared by generator 2. Load shared by generator 2 you will get here. Here tan theta 1 is equals to F no load 1 minus operating frequency divided by load shared by generator. So it may appear very difficult in this format, but when you put it in numericals, it's very simple actually. It is very simple actually. Let us take two problems and we'll close this topic. Okay. So now, two generators in a power system, their no load frequencies are given 51.5 Hertz and 51 Hertz. Both are having droop constants. He directly gave the tan theta droop constants of 1 Hertz per megawatt. The total load in the system is 2.5 megawatt. Assuming the generators are operating with their respective droop characteristics, the frequency of the power system in Hertz in steady state is. So because it is a first problem, I'll draw. Otherwise, you no need to draw. Just for explaining. The two generators are there. Okay. So what he's telling, the first generator, the no load frequency is how much? 51.5 Hertz. 51.5 Hertz. And its droop characteristic is 1 Hertz per megawatt. Tan theta is 1 Hertz per megawatt. There is one more generator whose no load frequency is 51 Hertz. Here this is say theta 1. Here this is say theta 2. What is telling, the droop characteristics are having a droop constant of 1 Hertz per megawatt. So that is your tan theta 1 is also 1 Hertz per megawatt. Your tan theta 2 is also 1 Hertz per megawatt. So what is telling, for a total load of 2.5 megawatt, then what is the frequency of operation of the machine? That is what he is asking. Okay, let X megawatt is supplied by generator 1 and 2.5 minus x megawatt, 2.5 minus x megawatt is supplied by generator 2. Okay, so now in between there the frequency is operation is which we are trying to find out. So what is tan theta 1? How I can write? Tan theta 1 is equals to 51.5 no load frequency minus the operating frequency, the power shared by this generator, it is x. X is equals to 1. Yes. What is tan theta 2? Tan theta 2 is equals to 51 minus f divided by 2.5 minus x. 2.5 minus x, that is also equal to 1. So if I substitute these values, 51.5 no load frequency minus operating frequency divided by load shared by this machine, that is equals to 1. So which implies what you are going to get? 51.5 minus f is equals to x. The second relationship is no load frequency 51 minus operating frequency divided by 2.5 minus x is equals to 1, which implies 51 minus f is equals to 2.5 minus x. So from these two relationships, what you are going to get is equals to this one. If you substitute x value in this one, you are going to get 51 minus f is equals to 2.5 minus 51.5 plus f. So from this, what you are going to get, if you take all these values this side, 51 plus 51.5 minus 2.5 is equals to 2f. So your f is 50 hertz. Okay, again you can correlate this what we have done. See, tan theta 1, tan theta 2 he has directly given as 1 hertz per megawatt. Okay, now he gave the no load frequencies and f is the operating frequency when they are running in parallel. So no load frequency of one generator is 51.5 minus f divided by load shared by generator 1 is x, load shared by generator 2 is 2.5 minus x. Simply I have substituted in that and I have obtained the solution. Okay, so here this axis is frequency and here it is power output. Now the last type of questions that you can encounter is two generators 300 megawatt and 400 megawatt have speed governor regulations of 6% and 4% respectively from no load to full load. Both generators are operating in parallel to share a load of 600 megawatt, assuming free governor action, load shared by larger unit is. Load shared by larger unit. It is GATE 2017 question. So here also we have to apply the same concept. Understand? So now since he did not give the no load frequencies, different no load frequencies, I'm telling you a very important hint. So since he did not mention their no load frequencies as a different, we can take since no load frequencies are not mentioned, we can assume no load frequencies of both generators as same. We can assume the no load frequencies of both generators are same. So in this case, what happens? Your tan theta 1 is nothing but change in frequency from no load to full load divided by rated power. For first machine, what you can write? For first machine, you can write it as the per unit droop into a rated frequency into rated power output. So per unit droop for first machine is 6%, 0.06 into 50 hertz divided by the rated power output is 300 megawatt. So many hertz per megawatt. This is tan theta. So similarly, tan theta 2 you can calculate how much. Again, the no load frequency minus full load frequency into rated frequency. Again, the same value which I am directly rating. The per unit droop is 4%, 0.04 into rated frequency 50 hertz and rated power output is 400. So many hertz per megawatt. So first we have calculated the slopes, the tan theta 1 and tan theta 2 of the two generators. Okay, this is very important. Next, let load shared by generator 1 is X megawatt. Let load shared by generator 1 is X megawatt. Let load shared by generator 2 is, what is the total load? 600 megawatt. So it is 600 minus X megawatt. Let the load shared by second machine is 600 minus X megawatt. So now what we know, tan theta 1 is equals to no load frequency of machine minus operating frequency of the machine divided by load shared by that machine is X, which implies we already know tan theta value 0.06 into 50 divided by 300 is equals to this value, no load frequency minus operating frequency of generator divided by X. Now we know tan theta 2 is equals to no load frequency of generator minus operating frequency of generator divided by 600 minus X, which implies 0.04 into 50 divided by 400 is equals to this value, 600 minus X. If you divide one with other, if you divide this value with this value, what you are going to get? This numerator will get cancelled. So this whole value, you are going to 400 divided by 6. So you are going to get 0 cancel. That is equals to 600 minus X by X. So 12 by 6 is equals to 600 minus X by X. So which you can write it as 2x is equals to 600 minus X. 3x is equals to 600. X equals to 200 megawatt. That is load shared by generator 1. And load shared by generator 2 will become 600 minus X, that is 400 megawatt. So your answer will become load shared by larger unit. Larger unit is a 400 megawatt generator, which is sharing 400 megawatt load. That is, it is fully loaded. Okay, fully loaded. Suppose in the same question, if he asks what is the operating frequency, what is the operating frequency of generator? That also we can easily calculate. Operating frequency. At what frequency it is operating? F. So if you know any no load frequency, you can easily calculate. Let us assume no load frequency of both generators is 51 hertz. Just for our convenience, I'm writing 51 hertz. So 51 minus capital F divided by, in any of these equations you can substitute, X is 200 is equals to tan theta 1. Tan theta 1 value is how much? 0.06 into 50 divided by 300. So either you substitute in the first or second, you are going to get the F value. So this will become 1. So 51 minus f is equals to 2. So your operating frequency will become 49 hertz. Suppose this method you can only apply when they give the no load frequencies. Then if they ask what is the operating frequency of the parallel generator, that means both generators are operating at frequency of f. So that frequency also you can calculate from here. Understand? So I'm asking this. Calculate the when two generators are operating
Yes,
in
sir.
parallel.
We can also use that 0.04 into 50 by 400. Then also we'll get the same answer, sir.
Yeah, that also you can get if you. Okay. So
Yes.
let me give you one question and try to solve this one. Yeah, let us solve this question only, which you have left it. Yeah. Try to solve this question. Generator 1 is 200 MVA, 5% droop. Generator 2 is 200 MVA, this one. So assume both are operating at UPA. Assume both generators are at UPF, operating at unity power factor. So that means the rated power output is 200 megawatt, 200 megawatt, 5%, 4%. So how do you solve this question? First, you have to calculate the tan theta 1. Tan theta 1 I am writing directly as 0.05 per unit droop into 50 hertz rated frequency divided by power output is 200 megawatt. Similarly, tan theta 2 I can write it as 0.04 into rated frequency 50 divided by again 200 megawatt. Okay. Let X be power generated by generator 1. Yogesh.
Sir, that is MVA or megawatt, sir?
I told assume both generators are operating at unity power factor.
Okay, sir.
So directly the power output will become MVA multiplied by power factor, which is 200 megawatt. Understand?
Yes, sir.
So what is the power output of generator? MVA capacity of generator multiplied by power factor of the generator. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let X be the power generated by G1. Then let 300 minus X be the power generated by generator G2. So if you apply this concept, what you are going to get? So your tan theta 1 is equals to 0.05 into 50 divided by 200 is equals to no load frequency of generator minus operating frequency divided by X. Tan theta 2 is equals to 0.04 into 50 divided by 200. That is equals to no load frequency minus F into 300 minus X. So if you divide one with other, so what you are going to get? 200 cancel. 2.5 divided by 2 is equals to 300 minus X divided by X, which implies 2.5x is equals to 600 minus 2x. So 4.5x is equals to 600. X is equals to 600 divided by 4.5. What is this value? 133 megawatts. 133.33 megawatt. And that is power supplied by generator 1. Power supplied by generator 2 is 300 minus X, that is 166.67 megawatt. So like this you can solve any kind of problem. Okay.